It was a crisp Wednesday afternoon in October when my wife Sophia and I pulled into the driveway of our new home in Willow Creek Meadows. After scraping by in cramped apartments for what felt like forever, we finally had a slice of suburbia to call our own. Neatly trimmed hedges, matching lampposts, and that polished veneer of perfection that hides all sorts of secrets. I was buzzing with excitement, but Sophia? She stepped out of the car like she was scouting enemy territory, her eyes scanning every inch of the front yard with the intensity of someone who'd spent 15 years in the army honing her instincts. "Alex," she called out, measuring the distance from the porch to the street with her gaze. "This spot for the flagpole is ideal, 8 feet from the path, full visibility, no drainage issues." I should have picked up on it right then. The flag wasn't just decor for her. It was a symbol she'd fought for, bled for. The next morning, at precisely 0600 hours, Sophia hoisted the American flag with the kind of ritual precision that could bring a tear to a sergeant's eye. Every crease folded just so, every snap of the rope deliberate. She even rigged up proper illumination for after dark and lowered it at sunset with a quiet salute. Disrespecting the flag? Not on her watch. Sooner walk through fire. I was nursing my coffee on the porch, watching her routine, when I spotted our first spectator. A woman in her mid-50s stood across the street, clipboard clutched like a weapon, glaring at Sophia as if she'd just defaced a national monument. She had that unmistakable aura, the one every suburban spouse dreads. Too much idle time mixed with a hunger for power. "Good morning," she sang out, crossing the road with a stride that screamed ownership. Her smile was all teeth, no warmth. "I'm Victoria Hayes, president of the Homeowners Association," she announced, eyeing Sophia up and down. Sophia straightened, offering that polite but razor-sharp smile she'd perfected in the military, the kind that says friendly but means don't test me. "Sophia Ramirez," my wife replied evenly. "And this is my husband, Alex. We're thrilled to be here." But I caught the flicker in Sophia's eyes, like she was sizing up a potential adversary. Victoria's grin widened, but it felt predatory, like a wolf spotting easy prey. "Military background? How fascinating," she drawled, making fascinating sound like an insult. For the next 10 minutes, she droned on about the community guidelines that kept Willow Creek Meadows so pristine. It was all code for control property values, harmony, blah blah blah. What I heard was, "I rule this kingdom, and you better kneel." Sophia nodded along, but her mind was mapping every word, every twitch. When Victoria mentioned insurance liabilities and risk assessments, her hands trembled not from fear, but from the thrill of spotting a weakness. "Well," Victoria wrapped up, her tone laced with warning, "I'm sure you'll blend in once you grasp how things work around here." The "how things work" hung in the air like a veiled threat. After she sauntered off, Sophia stared after her, her expression turning steely, the same look she'd worn planning ops in the field. "Alex," she murmured, her voice carrying that familiar edge from her service days. "That woman's not just power-hungry. She's desperate, circling for something specific. And I think our flag just made us her mark." Her words sent a shiver down my spine. Sophia had navigated war zones and cutthroat military bureaucracy for over a decade. If a neighborhood busybody rattled her, maybe I should brace for impact. But we had no clue how deep Victoria's desperation plunged, or the lengths she'd go to claw her way out. That flag, raised with such reverence each dawn, was unwittingly the first pawn in a game where the stakes would skyrocket beyond our wildest fears. 3 days later, the opening salvo landed. I got home from teaching to find Sophia in the kitchen, holding a thick envelope stamped with the Willow Creek Meadows HOA seal. Her face was set in that someone just crossed the line mode. "Alex, you gotta see this," she said, brandishing it like toxic waste. Inside was an official violation notice, bold red letters screaming a $500 fine for unsafe flag installation posing insurance hazards to the community. $500 for flying the flag right. The jargon was puffed up legalese meant to intimidate, but Sophia just chuckled a low, dangerous sound. "This lady thinks she can penalize me for honoring the country I serve?" She marched to the trash bin and dumped it in. No hesitation. I tried playing peacemaker, as husbands do. "Sophia, maybe we pay it to keep the peace. It's steep, but we can swing it. No need for enemies on day 4. She fixed me with those piercing hazel eyes, the ones that had stared down foes in combat zones. Alex, I gave 15 years to this flag. Watch comrades fall for it. No entitled suburban tyrant dictates how I display what I fought for. Her tone was steady, but underneath, unyielding resolve, forged in the Army's toughest units. Besides, she added, this isn't about the flag. It's a power grab. Cave now, and she'll own us. She crumpled the notice and tossed it away. End of discussion. No calls, no appeals, just outright rejection. Over the following week, more envelopes piled up, each nastier than the last. The fine ballooned to $1,500. Threats of liens, even seizure loomed. Sophia barely glanced at the sender before binning them. I watched this routine daily, my nerves fraying. Sophia, ignoring it escalates everything. I begged over breakfast one day. She buttered her toast methodically, unflappable. I don't bargain with tyrants, Alex. She'll tire and pick softer prey. Her Army training screamed never yield to aggression. But this foe was different, rooted in our backyard, armed with endless free time. Meanwhile, Victoria ramped up her campaign. She launched routine safety checks on our property, clipboard in tow, nitpicking every overgrown weed, every bloom that clashed with her approved palette. She was compiling a dossier, and Sophia's silence handed her ammo on a platter. Look at her, I muttered, peering through the window as Victoria snapped pics of our recycling bins. She's cataloging it all. Maybe we address her gripes. Sophia joined me, observing for a beat before smirking, not warmly, but with the promise of reckoning. Let her catalog. I've got my own records. Enter Harold Jenkins, our silver-haired neighbor, tending his roses. He noticed my surveillance and ambled over, leaning on the fence. About 75, with weathered hands from a lifetime of labor and eyes full of quiet wisdom. New folks, he asked. When I spilled our woes, his brow furrowed. Son, Victoria Hayes isn't your garden variety HOA boss. She siphoned $40,000 from our funds to feed her poker addiction. My mouth hung open. You're kidding. He shook his head solemnly. Booted me from the board when I poked around the missing cash. Did the same to the last Army vet family. Here hounded them till they bolted after lawsuit threats they couldn't fight. He leaned in, voice dropping. Whatever she's brewing with you, it's bigger than fines. From his coat, he produced a folder. These are the real HOA books, the ones she hides. Your wife strikes me as capable. Show her. It'll click. That night, we pored over the papers at the dining table. It was uglier than imagined. Phony contracts, bloated repair bills, ghost fees funneled straight to Victoria's pockets. She was running a racket under the guise of community care. Sophia dissected each page like battlefield intel. Alex, she said at last, this goes beyond our flag. It's a fraud blueprint fabricating hostile resident proof to back bogus injury claims against insurance. The epiphany slammed me. All those discarded notices, Victoria's meticulous log sit wasn't petty enforcement. It was scaffolding for a scam to rake in thousands, maybe more. Sophia's stonewalling had unwittingly fueled her narrative. We were the nightmare neighbors, perfect scapegoats. Sophia, I whispered, your silence might have just enabled a major felony. She leaned back, eyes narrowing with fresh determination. Then it's time to flip the script from evasion to engagement. But what Sophia unearthed in those records from Harold would shatter our assumptions about Victoria Hayes. For the next 2 weeks, Sophia doubled down on her blackout tactic with drill-like discipline. More dire missives arrived. She treated them like junk mail, straight to the trash. I eyed the growing pile with mounting dread, but she seemed almost entertained. Alex, you're fretting too much, she'd tease, pitching another unopened envelope. I outlasted deployments. One frantic homemaker won't break me. Yet the strain gnawed at our marriage. Dinners devolved into rehashed debates, my pragmatism clashing with her ironclad ethics. Sophia, your ego's jeopardizing us, I'd argue, voice rising. She'd fix me with that unyielding stare, implying I missed the bigger fight. You don't haggle with extortionists, Alex, sir, with these types. Victoria, meanwhile, elevated her harassment to spectacle. Her inspections grew theatrical, fancy tools, multi-angle shots, even survey gear. She wasn't just noting infractions, she was crafting a fraud masterpiece. Harold had tipped us to her schemes, but we'd underestimated her savvy. She'd pulled this before, flawlessly. Every snubbed letter, every defiant day, bolstered her plot. Then came the morning that upended it all. I was prepping lesson plans when Sophia yelped from the kitchen, not fury, but shock. I bolted down to find her at the window, jabbing outside. "Alex, get over here now." Peering out, I saw Victoria in our yard, bucket in hand, dousing the sidewalk with water. She glanced around furtively, then hurled herself down in a comically exaggerated tumble, sprawling and moaning like she'd been shot. "What on earth?" I breathed. But Sophia was already charging out. She might ignore paperwork, but not a possible casualty on her turf. We found Victoria writhing, gripping her knee, wailing about the treacherous surface. Sophia knelt, all solicitude. "Do you need medics? Let me call." But in her quick glance to me, I saw the chill. She knew this was theater, and she was letting it unfold. Victoria's act was ham-fisted, shifting injuries from knee to shoulder to elbow, story morphing with each breath. The ambulance she summoned arrived fast. Paramedics were polite but dubious. "Ma'am, you mentioned water, but it's bone dry now," the lead noted. Victoria's eyes darted. It was slick. They tampered with it. Post-departure, we stood stunned. "Worst fake I've witnessed," I said, half laughing. Sophia wasn't amused, scrutinizing the site like a forensics expert. "Alex, this is interstate fraud territory. We're eyewitnesses now." It dawned. Her build-up, though ignored warnings, our belligerence, painted us as culprits in her accident. Insurers would see negligent homeowners fostering peril. 24 hours later, the claims adjuster rang. "Detective Larson Hurino kin to Hayes, luckily. Need statements on your disputes with the claimant." Sophia's color drained. For the first time, doubt crept in. Larson knew the notices, the fines, our radio silence. What she'd deemed victory now damned us. "Detective," she replied measuredly, tension threading her words. Her wall had crumbled spectacularly. That evening, Sophia salvaged those trashed letters from bins, smoothing them with trembling fingers. Each was damning proof of our antagonism. "Alex," she whispered, "I might have just aided her felony." The admission hung heavy. Her army-born defiance had backfired against this cunning operator. We'd been outplayed by a gambler in pearls. The call with Larson left Sophia ashen. Hanging up, she uttered words that iced my veins. "Alex, this isn't a deranged HOA queen. This is a pro." The probe turned our idyllic life into hell. Larson grilled us on the feud's breeding hazards for Victoria's mishap. Sophia endured hours explaining, but questions boomeranged, making us villains. "You got repeated safety alerts and ghosted them?" "Yes." "Hostile dynamic?" "Undeniable." Our track record screamed culpability. Watching Sophia squirm under queries she couldn't dodge without self-incrimination gutted me. Her combat mindset's pot threat, neutralized, clashed with suburban intrigue's nuance. She'd treated Victoria like an insurgent, not a schemer. Now payback stung. "Alex," she said post-call, weary. "Time to come clean about my job. Might get twisted." What more secrets? That night sparked our fiercest row, nearly shattering us. Pent-up rage erupted. "Sophia, your bullheaded, ignoring brood this storm," I yelled. She sat amid the letter debris, absorbing its silent lie, a red flag. Sophia never retreated from righteous battles. "If you'd coughed up the damn $500, we'd be fine. Instead, lawsuits loom because of your point proving." "When did I stop?" She met my eyes, hers holding depths I'd glimpsed but never fathomed. "Alex, sit. I owe you the truth about me. Married 8 years, yet her tone suggested a stranger. You know I do county finance oversight." I nodded, baffled. She flashed an eyed, not the bland one I'd seen, but official, her photo beside a title that floored me. Special Investigator, Federal Financial Crimes Unit. Fraud probes, embezzlement hunts, that's her daily grind. Puzzle pieces locked, cryptic calls, odd hours, unflinching poise. So ignoring was bait, she finished. Spotted her playbook from jump. Over-documenting, ramping penalties, forging conflict trails. Textbook fraud setup. Handled scores like it. She grasped my hand. "Sorry for the secrecy. Deep cover sometimes demands it for your safety." Relief surged, then fury. "You let me believe your pride was nuking our marriage. Do you get how that wrecked me?" She held firm. "I do, and I'm sorry. But could you fake normalcy if clued in? Let her think dominance. Truth stung. My face betrays every thought why I teach, not bluff. Why not trust me? Hurt laced my voice. Her gaze softened. Because I love you enough to shield you. Victoria's not solo, linked to heavy hitters. Suspicion could have endangered us. Our talk peeled layers. Her county gig masked federal ops dismantling fraud syndicates. Victoria wasn't a lone addict. She fronted a web pilfering millions via staged claims nationwide. The flag beef? Camouflage for problem neighbor, lure to prop her payout. My snubs crafted her tale. Foolish for missing it, proud of her risky play. Next, I asked. Her grin turned predatory. We close it. She thinks victory, clueless to the trap. Her HOA theft? Fed level. Trust me a tad longer this'll look mad, but she'll rue targeting us. Belief flooded me. Sophia played 4D chess while I saw tic-tac-toe. Her revelation explained her zen, but signaled Victoria's unwitting war declaration on a pro. The ensuing week, Sophia morphed into the investigator I'd married unknowingly. She orchestrated the endgame with army crispness, dawn departures with dossiers, evening debriefs treating me as partner. Alex logged 19 tampering bids today. She'd update over pasta. Victoria's coaching my testimonial taped federally. Her mastery shone in handling Victoria, feigning naive ally on calls. I want your fair shake, Sophia cooed, logging every illicit word. Victoria, smug, preached vets versus insurers, blind to chatting with a fraud buster. Classic crook pitfalls, hubris, underestimation. Digging deeper, Sophia unveiled Victoria's empire. 250-plus sham claims over 7 states in 6 years. HOA roll. Latest facade for engineered mishaps. Same MO in 4 hoods. Sophia showed via stakeout snaps. Stir beefs, log hostility, stage fall, blame unsafe vibes. Brilliant, really. Victoria's Thursday community summit was her planned coronation. She'd amassed proof of our menace to parade, bolstering her suit. We entered the hall braced for slaughter, but Sophia whispered, she'll humiliate us for leverage. Let her rant deeper hole. Terror gripped me, facing 40 neighbors primed to vilify us. Victoria's slideshow was manipulation art, graphs, pics, witness quotes framing us as thugs who'd tormented her pre-dash injury. Folks, she climaxed theatrically, I fear for us all while these bullies roam. Silence, then glares. Sophia rose, voice steady. MS. Hayes, stellar dossier, it'll ease the feds' work. Room shifted. Victoria's smirk cracked. Murmurs, feds? Sophia brandished her badge, federal seals gleaming. I'm Special Agent Sophia Ramirez, Federal Insurance Fraud Task Force. Undercover here 6 months probing fraud and HOA theft. Pandemonium, shouts, objections, herald cackling. Sophia quelled it, prosecutor calm. MS. Hayes, you just admitted tampering, fraud, conspiracy federally. Calls coaching me? Recorded. Docs here? Falsified, verifiable. That $40,000 HOA skim? Traced to Atlantic City poker tables last month. Victoria's poise shattered, confident to cornered in seconds. Lies, she shrieked, quaking. Sophia's smile? Triumphant. Provably. Year-long probe on your ring. Bank trails, casino cams, flipped accomplices in 5 states. To the crowd. Hayes heads a syndicate looting for $1 million via fakes. This was her fresh hunting ground. Pin drop hush. Victoria's fatal blunder, attack mode. Absurd. You're no agent, just a vet playing big. Calling cops on this farce. Dialing 911. Sophia murmured, MS. Hayes, false reporting of Fed probe? Felony. Proceed-eyed love briefing responders. Victoria stormed out. Sophia slipped her a card. Prosecutors in 48 hours. Lawyer up. Neighbors flipped from foes to fans, apologies flowing. Harold gripped our hands. Waited years for her downfall. Bless you. Sophia, not over. Tomorrow, her last gasp ends it. What Sophia confided as Victoria dialed would seal fates. Friday dawned tense. Sophia paced pre-dawn, coordinating via phone. Units ready? Phase finale. Over eggs. Today she cracks. Cornered rat's final lunge. Reassuring, yet ominous Victoria, desperate, was volatile. At 10 a.m., yells erupted outside. From my office, I saw Victoria pacing her yard, phone glued, gesticulating maniacally. Police now. Armed neighbors plotting harm with Fed ties. Gut sink. Sophia joined, composed. On cue. Scary, but trust. Her call vindicates or dooms us. She alerted. Agent Ramirez subject calling. Positions hold. Agent Ramirez, 8 years wed, still unveiling. Victoria amped. Army radicals. She vowed death over HOA probe. Classified arms, terror plot. Accusing Sophia of terrorism to summon SWAT. Sophia, she's labeling you terrorist Theo raid. Her grin. In minutes, she'll learn snitching on insiders backfires. Response. Overwhelming 8 cruisers, 3 SWAT vans, half the force swarming our street. Tactical teams encircled, bullhorn boomed. Detective Sanchez, sheriffs. Emily Ramirez out now. Heart hammering. We emerged. Hands up, Sophia's creds ready. Officers, Special Agent Sophia Ramirez, Federal Fraud Task Force. False terror alert on me. Sanchez scrutinized, then saluted crisply. Ma'am, report claimed armed extremism. Unaware it targeted you. Murmurs. Wait, Sophia Lee from County Admin? Our pension handler. Dots connected. Victoria SWAT ed the woman safeguarding their retirements. Sanchez's face hardened. Officers' respect turned fierce allegiance. Ma'am, he said, saluting again. Honor meeting you. You've guarded our futures impeccably. Victoria's smugness evaporated as cops pivoted to her. Hayes, false terror tip on our pension guardian. Felonies galore start of your woes. Cuffed mid-denials, reading rights. Pro-blitz, feds raided, seizing ledgers, nabbing ring members. Harold toasted with wine. 3 years wait gratitude for your guts. Sophia demurred, fatigue showing, undercover toll ran deep. Sanchez, rechecking creds. Ma'am, you're Sophia Lee signing our checks? Heart's raced revelation amplified. Officers transformed. Not duty, but personal. Honor serving with you. Sanchez saluted, echoed by all. Victoria watched empire crumble. Terrorist was their trusted fiduciary. Claims nuked. House foreclosed on phony docs. Debts ballooned. Neighbors learned. Felt duped apologies poured. Harold hosted a grill-out honoring Sophia. Elected HOA head, she installed audits. Media buzzed. Suburban agent busts crime ring. Sophia's interviews stressed vigilance. Protect communities from predators. Fear. I'd risk myself over letting crooks prey. 6 months on, Victoria's hearing. Ring expanded to 20 perps, 7 states. Cooperation shaved 30-year bid to 15 prison years, plus probation, payback. Judge, abused trust, endangered agents, manipulated justice 15 years federal. Led away, Victoria scanned vainly for saviors known. Gallery, we savor justice. Sophia, this is my why crooks learning consequences. Sanchez's parting handshake, privilege alongside you. Sophia's flag flies daily, emblem of true honor. Victoria, rotting federally, pondering how a housewife toppled her. Power from service trumps entitlement. Checkmate. What do you think? Should Sophia have revealed her identity sooner, or was the undercover risk worth it? Would you ignore HOA fines on principle, even if it meant escalating to fraud? Drop your hot takes below, smash that like if justice hits sweet, and subscribe for more twists that question everything. Whose side are you on?